What's going on YouTube? Tom here. Today we're going to be doing a knife review instead of some cut testing. If you guys joined me or subscribed the other day for my cut testing, I will be getting back to that. I just got to give my hands a break because those two tests did go for quite a while and my hands are pretty sore obviously. So today we're going to be reviewing the Zero Tolerance 0609. The model that I have is a sprint run in the blue titanium with the black DLC coated blade. Real quick, let's go over some tech specs here. It is a 3.4 inch blade made out of 118 thousandths stock. That is S35VN steel. That's what it is on the sprint run. The normal model is 20 CV. There is a 3.3 inch cutting edge, 4.29 inch handle that is 0.45 inches thick, 3.7 inch grip area, and 7.6 inches in overall length. This is a sprint run, like I said, it's coming in S35VN steel. On the normal production model, it comes in 20 CV, which is a little bit nicer, but the price is a little bit cheaper on the S35VN versions. This particular one does have the blue titanium handles, as you guys can see. The normal model is like a bronzish gold. Really no preference there. They both look pretty good. This one does have the DLC coated blade and hardware, including the clip, pivot, lock bar insert screw, the standoff screws and standoffs. The normal model does have satin. This does have a reversible clip, right or left hand tip up only, and it does have RJ Martin's see-through pivot. So this is a RJ Martin design. He's designed quite a few different models for Kershaw and for ZT in the past. And this one does have the 3D machine handles, as you guys can see right here. So that's kind of it for the overall tech specs. Let's start to get into some of my likes and dislikes on this particular blade. So I really like the overall design. It's very appealing. It's unique in its design. The handle milling is really nice looking, and the contouring on the handle, it fits your hand really well. It's 3D machined throughout here, so it does have a little bit of a radius, and with the two finger cutouts here, it does fit your hand pretty nice. With that, let's do a little bit of size comparisons, because this isn't the biggest knife. It's not a really small knife either. It's kind of right in the middle. So we have our Spyderco Delica here. So it's a little bit bigger than the Delica. Benchmade Anthem. Similar size ballpark to the Anthem. The Anthem's handle is a little bit longer. And last but not least, Chris Reeve Small Sabenza. So it's a little bit bigger than a small Sabenza. Now the handle milling and contouring is actually really nice because it just provides for a better grip. The milling there adds a little bit of texture, so your hand actually has something to hold on to. The other thing I did like is the blade. It's really unique in its design with that swedge and this little cutout right here, but it's still very utilitarian. It's very usable. It's a drop point at heart, but with some more modern and almost artsy design elements. I do like this little drop right here because in my line of work anyhow, I do a lot of box opening, and this is awesome when you can get your finger right up on top here and have something to push down on. That's really nice. I do like the look of the see-through pivot. As you guys can see, my finger right through there. It's kind of cool actually. It's a pretty darn big pivot, so it should be pretty robust. And the look is just really unique. That's a feature that has never been done before other than RJ Martin. I think that's really cool that they incorporated that into a production piece. I like the clip. It's very simple. A lot of people like to make fun of this clip or have gripes about it, but I like it. It's very simple, but it's very useful. No complaints there. This particular knife does have a lock bar insert and stabilizer. You guys might be able to see it down in there, just barely. So you can't push that lock bar over too far, and it does interact with that lock face of the blade instead of it just being titanium on steel. The action is pretty much the hallmark of this knife. I mean, that's typical of all ZTs, but as you guys can see, the action is just perfect. It doesn't fall shut because the blade isn't super heavy and it's not super loose to begin with, but the action is just perfect. That's, you know, typical ZT. I didn't expect anything less. I do like the flipper tab. It's a comfortable flipper tab to use, easy to get good purchase on it. It has good jimping on it, as you guys can see right there. So it has a little bit of extra grip, so your finger is not slipping off of it. There's a couple models that they've been putting out recently that I don't really like. I think it's like the 0460 doesn't have any jimping on the flipper tab, and my finger tends to slip off it pretty easily. The other thing I did like was the milling on the lock bar. You guys can kind of see it right there. They milled out a little piece of the lock bar there so it's easier to access and push over, which I really appreciate. Last but not least, the ergos. So the ergos on this particular knife for me are perfect. I do have smaller hands, and you guys can see I'm almost out of room down here. I do have a little bit of extra room, but not much. I like I said, probably wear a size small to medium glove, so anything bigger than that, you guys might struggle a bit. Alright, let's get into the dislikes. So, the first thing I really don't like about this knife is the finish on the clip. I think it's DLC, maybe not, I'm not really sure. They've used this finish on their clips before, and it's just not the greatest. It wears off super easily. You guys might be able to see there's a little bit of wear there on the tip, and I got some wear right here on the corners up here. I really didn't bump into that much stuff when I was carrying this knife. I carried it for probably 2 to 3 weeks, and that finish wear was already starting. Something I really don't like is the jimping on this knife. It looks great, don't get me wrong. It's not super aggressive, and it just has a good look. There's some down here at the very bottom of the handle too, but there's no bite to it. Your finger just slides up and down. It's more for looks than anything. Another thing I wish they would have done without is this spot right here for the clip on the show side. It just looks really obnoxious. If they would have had some sort of a filler tab that they could have put in there, or have this recessed. Instead, it's sticking up and out, and it kind of looks like a pig snout, honestly, coming out of the handle of this knife. It just doesn't look that good. Not a big deal when the clip's over it, obviously, but I don't know, it's just kind of obnoxious and something for them to possibly improve. The other thing is, if you guys didn't know, this knife is modeled after a zero tolerance factory custom, the 0606. That knife was beautiful, but it was pretty expensive and pretty hard to get. It had this very similar milling to this. I'll throw a picture up on the screen right now. But the milling on this 0609 just isn't quite as sharp looking as the 0606. It almost looks cast in a way. It's just the details are kind of lost a little bit on this compared to the 0606. I can kind of see why. I mean, it's a third of the price basically. But at the same time, it's just something they could have done a little bit better. Something I noticed too is that the screws for the pocket clip, you guys aren't going to be able to see it very easily, are just threading straight into titanium. And anytime that happens, it's just no good. The titanium's just too soft for screws, and if you accidentally have a screw in there just a little bit off, you're possibly going to strip out your scale and you need a whole new scale. And that's just not good. So, the last but not least biggest issue I have with this knife is the see-through pivot. The see-through pivot itself isn't a bad idea. It looks good, it functions well, it's just a really unique design. But the bad thing is, you have to buy a separate tool to be able to maintain it. So that's pretty annoying. I wish they would have just had some sort of a torque screw. It just would have been a little bit more functional. So it wouldn't have been a bad idea wouldn't have been a bad thing if they shipped the tool with the knife. That would have been fine. But they did not. They announced this knife in January at SHOT Show of 2018, I believe. That's when they announced that there was going to have to be a tool that comes with this knife. That's okay. Not too bad. Then they kind of had it up on the website, I believe, for the tool was like $25, $26. It's $26 right now, which is fine. So, like I said, announced in January. The knive's released in about April. So that's 4 months later. And at that point, you would think that they would have had the tool ready and available. They did not, though. They didn't have the tool available until almost October, if I'm remembering correctly. And that's just unacceptable. If your knife didn't come absolutely perfect as far as centering, lockup, no blade play, you were kind of out of luck, or you had to send it back to the dealer or ZT to have it fixed. Luckily, my knife came perfectly centered, no blade play, great action, all that good stuff. But if you didn't, you either had to wait for the tool to come out or you had to send it back. That's a huge error on ZT's part, if you ask me. And that's the only major gripe I have with this knife. So in conclusion, the ZT 0609, absolutely fantastic everyday carry, especially now that the see-through pivot tool is out so that you can maintain it. It's a great knife, classic design, but with a lot of unique, more modern twists on it. It stands out in a world where a lot of knives are getting to be pretty similar. And this knife coming in at $225 is a great blade. I'm going to throw a link down in the description below so you guys can purchase it. It's through my Amazon link. If you guys buy it through there, it actually supports the channel and actually funds some more money for different knives and different stuff to review. So if you guys enjoyed the video, make sure to drop a like down below. Hit the subscribe button and the notification bell if you guys want to continue seeing more videos like this. There will be more steel testing on the way. And as always, guys, thank you for watching and have a great day.